I am Mightykeef.
Wait, no. Is it working? That'd be cool if it... I don't think I'm gonna be able to have a dramatic intro for this one, but that's alright. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard of a series on HBO called Game of Thrones. Whether you watch it or not, I'm also sure you've heard of the overall atmosphere of how people are receiving this season, the last season of Game of Thrones. You know, people are upset. People are upset at the writing, at the character development, and you know me, I've always liked to call myself a hopeful optimist. You know, I don't like being naive or anything, but I like the glass half full type of thing. I came into this believing that I honestly I wanted closure. It's been such a long journey. I just wanted closure from the series and kind of have fun. You know, I didn't expect it to do amazing. It's been in decline for the past 3 seasons. I think season 6 was passable. 5 was kind of where it stopped being amazing. I'm sorry, the ending of 5 was when it stopped being amazing, which is pretty much when the book stopped, so we all knew that was gonna happen. But what I wanted to make the video today was my thoughts about last night's episode, the episode before the end of the entire series. Oh boy, where do I go? Because last night was a doozy. Instead of giving you a summary of what it was about, because if you're here watching this video, you probably saw it, or you already have seen a summary of it, right? I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna waste your time. I want to get into the characters. I want to get into how the story played. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably like, wait, what, Keef? You saw last night's episode? I mean, what did you think? Did you think it was good? Well, I can't really, I can't say it was good, because it just depends on what you say is good or not, or what do you think is good or not. Did I find it fun? Hell yeah. I loved that fire was everywhere. I loved that buildings were crumbling down. I loved the cinematography. I loved the music. I loved that the Hound finally fought his older brother and they died. I loved that Dany did her little, you know, Emperor Palpatine Order 66 type stuff, and made everyone kind of, you know, Grey Worm looked at homie who threw his sword down and was like, bro, you should probably pick that up because I'm about to throw this spear in your eye. I liked that. I liked that they were done giving any types of F's. No F's were given at all. And you could argue, you know, that, you know, about her character, but we're gonna get into that a little later. I'm just first, again, going over the topic of was it good, because there's going to be people out there who think like this.
Well, so I was not too thrilled that the clouds parted at a 70-degree angle that allowed the dragon to be engulfed in a sunlight that allowed the Iron Fleet to be blinded by the—
Shut up, you f***ing nerd!
Why?
Wow, that got incredibly dark, incredibly fast. Kind of like Dany's character. Nah, but seriously, I had fun with it. So if you want to consider that good, that's up to you. Am I upset with the character development in some of the characters? Yes, for sure. Am I upset that the story feels a little rushed? Yes, for sure. Do I wish it was more than 6 episodes? Yes, for sure. Do I feel like we're getting the ending that we all wanted? No, not at all. But did I have fun? Did I enjoy parts of it? And did I come out last night's episode like, dang, I was on the edge of my seat, because I didn't know I didn't know how it was gonna go off, and I thought it was really fun to watch. What I just said about character development, we'll talk with the biggest one that people are debating so far, and that is good old Daenerys Targaryen. Being the Mad Queen is exactly what I was hoping for. This is the character that I was hoping we would see. If she had just been this character who was exiled to a far off island, and she had to go through a journey to travel through the seas and go and beat the evil villain, even evil tyrant, you know, to claim her throne, that's so tropish. That's so tropish. And in a book or in a series where tropes aren't a thing, or they're not supposed to be a thing, for that to be her character, I would have been super heated.
The lords of Westeros are sheep. Are you a sheep? No. You're a dragon. Be a dragon.
They gave breadcrumbs throughout the series to show that she had those flaws. It was masqueraded, of course, by her patron of good, like this whole breaker of chains. Let me free everybody. Let me do this. Let me do that. And she is a full-blooded, dragon-wielding weapon. Jon being the good Targaryen makes sense because he's not full Targaryen, he's half Stark, you know, and he's been around people. He's been raised as a Stark. He's been around good influences. She was raised with a very evil brother who taught her, hey, you're supposed to go rule these people. Oh, I'm sorry, we're supposed to go rule these people. Then she was also led with the Dothraki, who rape and pillage. Like, her influences have never really been good until Varys and Missandei, and they're both dead, so I mean, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got anything else. Every single season, she has showed her inability to control her temper when things weren't going the way she wanted. Every single season, she has murdered people, whether it's one or a group of people. And yeah, you can argue that they deserve it. Some of them, we'll get into that later. Some of them deserve it, but it's how she did it. The manner in which she killed them that really illuminates like the sadistic side of them. One, they always made it, the cinematography always made it so that you saw that she had a cold stare whenever somebody was burning alive. It happens all over the season. All right, that alone is crazy. I mean, she crucified people in Miran. They were masters. She crucified the masters to set an example. All right, that's inhumane. That's definitely a sign that she's not all the way there. You know, you kill people because they deserve it, get it out the way, maybe behead them or whatever. She crucified. These aren't, she kept the King of Karth locked away in a dark tome until he passed away, until died of starvation, I'm assuming, dehydration. These aren't slow deaths. These are like sadistic. These are torturous deaths. All right, and those are things that I'm trying to get you guys to understand. She was never like this huge, I'm going to be like a good person that was never her main goal. Her main goal was never to be the breaker of chains. That was just something that got implemented to her on her journey, and her journey was to be the ruler of Westeros. She killed the Khals for not wanting to get ruled by her. She was a foreign woman. After Drogo died, she went into that place before her dragons were mature, and she let the whole place on fire. She could have escaped. She was no longer in chains. She was going to be set off in that little place where all the other widows of the Khals were. She could have left at any time. She had Jorah as a friend. She had that other Dothraki dude as a friend. She had Missandei as a friend. She had many ways to escape at any time, but she needed them. She needed the Dothraki to become the queen. She needed an army, and so for her own selfish gain, she told them, you're either going to be ruled by me or you're going to die. And they didn't want to be ruled, so they died. Sam Tully's brother and father murdered, like just right then and there. They said, I'm not gonna bend the knee, and then she held them captive, right? Could have been in jail. Didn't have to kill him. She didn't kill a lot of other ones. And she said, if you don't bend the knee, I'm going to kill you. They didn't want to bend the knee, so she killed them. You know, that one bad day, if you guys like the Joker, you know, there's always that one day that turns you into something else. That doesn't mean that it all happened on that one day. It just means that a culmination of a lot of things created that one day where you just flip the switch, and that's exactly what we saw. And so this is like the beginning of her tale as the Mad Queen. And I'm going long on Daenerys because, again, like I said, that was the big thing of last night's episode. I think they did very well with her character. The writers did very bad with the season so far, but her character is probably the best thing that they did right. But those are the reasons why I like Daenerys. Now, let's go on to some other things that I have issues with, like Jaime Lannister. Good old Jaime Lannister. Oh my God, this guy has been to hell and back, almost literally. He started out as this pompous guy having sex with his sister, and you know, the handsome, charming dude who really didn't care about anyone else except for his brother, his father, and his sister. And as time went on, you know, he became more compassionate towards other people. He even lost his arm for somebody else. And for whatever reason, they just was like, all right, you're no longer this person. I mean, it happened way too fast, like within a day. You know, he got the pull from Brienne, And then in his head, I guess, was like, nah, never mind, my sister's is better, so I'm gonna go back to her. And then she's out there crying, she wants the guy back. There was nothing leading up to that, and that's what made me upset. So I don't think, they didn't do his character justice. Now with his death, people were complaining about that. I can't see, I mean, he's a knight, lost his dominant arm, so he sucks now, and he fought Euron and died by Euron. That's how he died. I think people are forgetting that because the finishing blow was the rubble, but he died by Euron. He was bleeding out. Euron even said, I'm the man who killed Jaime Lannister. So he died in a battle. The night Jaime Lannister died in a battle. That's fair, that's fine, that's acceptable. Then he had to do the cinematographic, dramatic, poetic ending of falling in his love's arm and then getting crushed by the castle. I mean, the guy got stabbed mortally wounded. He's to death, bleeding out, and then crushed by the Red Keep. I think that's fine. I think that's a fair way for him to die. You know, there's probably better ways out there, probably better written ways, but this was a very acceptable way, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Now for Varys. People have their complaints about Game of Thrones Season 8. My biggest complaint is Varys. Varys and the Night King, but I don't even want to talk about the Night King and his ending because that's got to be a whole episode dedicated to itself if I end up doing it. Varys was one of my favorite characters because this character legitimately went from rags to riches. I mean, he was a kid, got his what can I say on YouTube? Got his meat cut off. And he survived as a rat, basically, a rat in the streets. And then he went from that to being an advisor for the royalty. And he survived, as he said, a different royalty. He survived Joffrey, survived the other king. He survived Robert Baratheon, the king, Aegon, the Targaryen that burned everything. He survived all of them because he's clever. That was his entire character. He knew how to not get killed. He had information everywhere. He had birds everywhere that kind of, he knew how to not be in bad situations. When things hit the fan, he was out. So tell me why in God's name would this said clever, cunning, and just survivalistic character tell the hand of the queen, imply that he was going to kill her? Why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. When Varys and Tyrion had a talk in the last episode, Varys implied to Tyrion that he was going to kill the queen so that Jon could be the ruler. And Tyrion was like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That makes, friend or not, you should, as someone like him, should always have a backup plan. Like, there's no reason for that. Not only that, because telling one loyal member of the queen was enough, he told a second person. He told Jon he wanted Jon to be the rightful king and didn't want Cersei to be the queen. Jon emphatically, am I saying that word right? Emphatically or something like that? Enthusiastically, I'll say that word. I know I'm saying that right. Enthusiastically has told everyone over and over again he does not want to lead. He is only going to be loyal to the queen. So he went and basically told the king, or I'm sorry, Jon, I want you to be king. That's right, I'm committing treason right in front of your face. Hope I don't die for this, but again, I want you to be king. I don't like our queen, so could you like take her over? This is again me committing treason. Hopefully nobody will tell about this though. That's not Varys. Varys wouldn't do that, and then guess what? He dies for it. I'm surprised that out of everyone, no one's talking about. I think Varys, what they did to Varys is the most egregious thing of this entire series. Varys and the Night King. That's like my biggest gripes, you know. And if me, a hopeful optimist, is griping about that, you would expect like the Debbie Downers to be talking about it endlessly, right? But they're talking about stuff that doesn't really, people were talking about like the Battle of Winterfell being dark. What? Turn off your lights in your house. Like, what do you, these are complaints that I just don't understand. I can't end this video without talking about the super bae, ice cold queen, Cersei Lannister. Cersei was okay with me. She didn't really change that much throughout the series. Even with like the new writers, she was still kind of that ice queen that only cared about her children and Jaime, and that was fine. She was still ruthless. She was still a bad bee, however you want to say it. But I liked her overall. I liked her as she stayed in there. I saw people complaining that she was all helpless and fragile in the last episode. But I mean, how can you blame her? There's a literal dragon destroying her entire city. All her defenses are gone. What is she supposed to do? Put on her Superman cape and go out there hoping that they don't have kryptonite? Like what? She's not a fighter. She is a powerful person because of her rule. That's where her power came from. Her rule was getting destroyed. So her power is also getting destroyed. She's strong and she's sassy and she's evil because she knows she has her rule over people. She doesn't have that anymore. So we got to finally see her in a vulnerable state. We haven't seen that since Joffrey died. So I was happy with this. I was like, this is great, cool. I'm glad she's crying because now she's realizing she's going to die. For the first time ever, she's like, oh, this is it. I'm gonna die. That's good character development. That's good. She's been so pompous. She's been so confident all the time. Now she realizes she lost. And she doesn't want her child to die. Now, I will admit, I think she could have died in a better way. I would have been happy if somehow Jaime Lannister killed her in some type of poetic, dramatic ending. That would have been probably the best. I would have even been okay with her and him doing that Romeo Juliet sipping poison, both dying together type thing. I would have even been okay with that. But similar to that, they got crushed by the Red Keep. And again, it wasn't the best ending, but it was acceptable to me. It was acceptable because she went to a place where she thought she'd be safe. She even said, unironically, that the Red Keep was the safest place in the city. And then a few moments later, she goes and the Red Keep falls right on top of her. And that's it. That's the end of the legacy of them. And, you know, again, some people might think that's a little anticlimactic. Again, they could have done better. But I don't think that is that's not a negative point in my opinion. It could have been up here, but it's right here. It's very satisfactory. How about that? We'll use that word. I think that's a better word to use, right? Satisfactory is way more than I can say for the rest of the season and its theme. First episode, okay. Second episode, it's like, all right, Battle of Winterfell, come on, man. Why y'all do this to me, man? Why y'all do this to my intelligence? Huh? You know, so this could be, I'm not saying I'm 100% right. You guys, I would like to let me know what you guys think, though. If you enjoyed it last night, if you think the writing is complete trash, you can say that too. If you think my opinion is trash, you could say that too. If you like my opinion, you could say that. If you had fun, if you enjoyed it, just let me know in the comment sections. I'm out, guys. If you enjoyed this video, though, and if you're new, you know, subscribe to the crew. You know, you become amazing forever. Peace.
Boy, that's just crazy.